HAARP has been called many things by many people, from weather control, causing earthquakes, tornadoes, hurricanes, typhoons, and even solar eruptions, to Earth penetrating tomography, anti-satellite weapons, knockout electronic communications, and even change our mood and mental state, mind control. Of course, HAARP in Alaska is the most well known, but there are actually dozens of facilities around the world. Covering the northern hemisphere are the three originals in Alaska, Greenland, and Norway. By 2008, a dozen more were fully operational in Area 51, Long Island, Peru, Brazil, UK, India, Australia, Japan, and Russia. Since 2008, you can bet on many more installations being built. The wider the net, the bigger the influence. Similar to the Star Fort pyramids creating a protective shield around our planet that I mentioned in the Bosnia Pyramid and Tartaria videos. Did you see that HAARP was in the news recently? In May 2024, HAARP announced a 3-day test that coincided with a 3-day solar eruption from our sun, causing the northern lights to be made visible much more to the south than ever recorded. Scientists say the sun is approaching its solar maximum, a point during an 11-year cycle when the sun's magnetic poles flip. This is the 25th solar pole flip since recordings began in 1755. It was supposed to be quiet, but scientists say it is larger than expected, most likely due to the HAARP tests. I talk more about pole flips in the upcoming Continent of Mu episode. Now, back to HAARP. HAARP Alaska has 180 radio antennas on 33 acres of land, officially to study the ionosphere. The ionosphere is where all the sun's charged particles collect in the Earth's atmosphere. Its size varies between 50 to 400 miles or 80 to 643 kilometers. It's the boundary between the air we breathe and the vacuum of space. It's where most satellites and the International Space Station are located. It's well known that Hugo Chavez blamed HAARP for the 2010 Haiti earthquake, a risky move even for him. Soon after he was diagnosed with cancer, a baseball-sized tumor was removed. His health deteriorated until his death. This wasn't the first time, nor would it be the last, for HAARP accusations of weather manipulation. A few years earlier, in 2008, the 7.9 Sichuan earthquake in mainland China was said to be retaliation for huge crackdowns in Tibet. China got their revenge in 2009 with their own HAARP installations towards the Taiwan-US alliance with Typhoon Marakat, the deadliest typhoon to impact Taiwan in recorded history. Coming full circle with the arrival of the revered Tibetan Dalai Lama in Taiwan to comfort the victims of Typhoon Marakat, bringing together mainland China's two most important territorial issues of the time. HAARP Alaska was run by the U.S. Air Force, the U.S. Navy, and DARPA for over 20 years before being transferred to to the University of Fairbanks. Before HAARP had its official name of High Frequency Active Auroral Research Program, it was called the Silent Subliminal Presentation System. It was patented by the US government in 1989. It functions in the very low or the very high audio frequency range. Propagated acoustically or vibrationally for inducement into the brain. It's an inaudible signal that gets layered into other broadcasts like TV and radio. It triggers a wanted emotional response by using different frequencies. If they want them to feel anger, paranoia, or hopelessness, it's just a frequency click away. The subliminal and undetectable frequency weapon had to be tested. And what better place than in the confusion of war? The very successful test took place during Operation Desert Storm in Iraq. In 1991, Saddam Hussein invaded Kuwait with 500,000 battle-hardened soldiers that had been fighting with Iran for 8 years. So these were very experienced soldiers. The Iraqi army conquered all of Kuwait in only 2 days. A coalition of 42 countries was put together to liberate Kuwait, but it wouldn't be a long war, as the CIA had a few tricks up their sleeves. A new secret weapon. Saddam Hussein was at a loss as he was getting several reports of large numbers of Iraqi soldiers surrendering to the Americans. That is until he got some intel about a transmission tower. He sent his tank division to attack and destroy the transmission tower. Then the surrenders stopped. A ceasefire agreement was reached. Kuwait was liberated. Some people were angry that Saddam Hussein got to remain in power, but the purpose of the war was to liberate Kuwait, not to overthrow Iraq, at least not yet. All that was a test run for something much bigger. The next year, DARPA started construction in Fairbanks, Alaska. HAARP was being born. High-powered transmitters sending electromagnetic pulses to the ionosphere and to anywhere in the world. HAARP also has other associations like atmospheric sounds, the hum, pillars of light, and manipulation of the auroras. Although some say aurora australis and aurora borealis are both caused by the inner or hollow Earth's sun. Now let's check out the sounds of HAARP. right, that's all for HAARP for now. If you have any questions, you can ask me in the comment section, or you can contact me on the Facebook page, the White Rabbit 4090, and I'll answer your questions in the live episode 7 days from today. And as always, I'm not saying this and every story is 100% true. I'm just telling a story, and you can believe what you want. Uncovering the truth, one conspiracy at a time. See you next week on the White Rabbit YouTube channel.